Welcome to the Stage Analysis Weekend video. It's Sunday the 18th of December 2022. I'm going to start tonight's video by doing a feature on the home construction group before getting into some of the more regular content, the indexes, the industry group bell curve, market breadth data, having a look at some of the week's stage 2 breakouts and some of the more vulnerable stocks, which is a new feature I started earlier in the week to do it as a new regular feature, and before finishing off with the watch list stocks at the end of the video. So the video will be broken up into multiple chapters, which you'll be able to see along the bottom in the bar, in the Vimeo bar, and in the chapters feature. So you can watch whatever bits obviously you're most interested in. But starting tonight, I just wanted to go through the home construction group because we had a stage 2 breakout attempt this week in the group, not just in the group chart itself. Obviously the group chart is made up of multiple stocks within it, and there was at least 5 to 7 stocks within the group testing that stage 2 breakout level in a weak market environment. So although not many actually were convincing in their breakouts attempts, they're all above the 200-day moving average and closed back above near-term pivot points, so potentially in early stage 2. So just going to have a look through those, and you can see the reason for that is that we've got the industry group relative strength rankings as they've been moving up the rankings for the last couple of weeks or so, and over the last few months even. So home builders is the second group currently. So this is the top 12 industry groups by RS score. The renewable energy group continues to be the leading group at the moment, but as you can see, similar to what we see in FSLR at the moment, we've got a little bit of a head and shoulders type pattern developing in the near term on that, so it's looking a little bit more vulnerable in the near term. But home builders has been showing some real strength. So we flick back to the actual relative strength rankings chart here. See, this is ordered by relative strength, so 100 is the strongest, all the way down to 1, which is the weakest. So automobiles is our weakest group at the moment, with Tesla making further continuation breakdown in stage 4 this week. But focusing back in on this home construction group, so you can see on the 1 week basis it moved up another 13 RS points, in 2 weeks it's moved up 26, 4 weeks 33. So it's been grinding its way up to the upper part of the RS table now, and with that we've now seen a number of stocks within the group attempting to break out into stage 2. So this is the actual groups, the summary for the group itself. There's 21 stocks in this at the moment. You can find these on stock charts. Like there's a whole section on stock charts where if you click into the name of the industry group of the 104 industry groups, you can see which stocks are inside it. You can hide any of the stocks below $1, or you can do a scan using the technical scan workbench and get rid of some of them depending on your obviously preferences, if you don't want to look at some of the smaller cap names, for example. But when doing group analysis like this, when we're doing what in Stan Weinstein's method we call the forest to the trees approach, where we look at what the major indexes are doing, the sectors, and then the industry groups before drilling down into the individual stocks. So we're doing from a top-down approach. So using the industry groups RS rankings, we see the group rising up the industry group rankings. I highlighted the home construction group last week as it had shifted up. I think it was in 14th or 15th place last week, and then has now shifted up to second here. So if we look into the individual stocks within the group, you can see I've ordered this by relative strength ranking. So the SCTR score on here, you can see on a 1 week basis that the group had a decent performance overall. Most of the stocks within the group had obviously 3 to 5% moves, with a few doing a little bit better than that. So what we do with this to determine, we're looking for leaders. So the SCTR score is a good way to order it first, and then you can click through using the gallery view, because then that shows you intraday, daily, and a weekly view. And then you can go through the individual stocks one by one to determine what stage they're in. But another really quick and dirty way to see whether the breakout in the group is valid or not is to just do a scan. So I'll just quickly knock this up, and I've used this same scan for the 104 industry groups. So by selecting group is home construction, so if you come down to sectors and industries here and find the group within here, so home construction, then add that to the chart, and then you've got your daily close is greater than the 200-day moving average. So when you're to be in stage 2, you need to be above the 200-day moving average. If a stock is below the 200-day moving average, then it can't be in stage 2, even if it's broken out from a base structure. So a quick and dirty way to have a look at how the overall group is performing, because there's obviously different groups have a different amount of stocks. There's only 21 in this group, but the software group, for example, has got about 330 stocks, and biotechs might have 600 odd stocks. So you can just have a scan the entire group, how many are above the 200-day moving average and how many are below it. So if I quickly run the scan here, you can see we've got 16 of the stocks in the group are currently above, and go back there just to double check that. It's still the 21. So what are below or equal to their 200-day moving average? You can see we've got 5. So it's 76% of the stocks currently are above their 200-day moving average. And if we look at the 30-week moving average as well here, you can see we've got 18, so even better than that. So it's more than 2/3. So how we look at it with that is you want to see, to be in stage 2, the group, when you consider the group stage 2, it's obviously made up of its individual parts. So if you think about it from a really simple perspective, if you break it down into thirds, if you've got more than 66% of the stocks above their 200-day moving average, then the group should be considered in stage 2 in a bull market. If it's obviously, but we've got less than 33%, then it would be considered in stage 4, and in between it might be in stage 1 or stage 3. So you can do it really simply that way, and just to give you a rough guide. So at the moment we've got 76% of stocks in the group above their 200-day moving average. So the group is in potential stage 2 based on what's going on with these individual stocks. So if we look at the group chart itself here, you can see the stage 2 breakout that it made this week. The ETF that tracks it lags this a bit and didn't manage to make the stage 2 breakout attempt, but that's obviously made up of the weightings of the stocks that were within it, using the actual. That's why we use the individual stocks and not the ETF of the group to actually determine what the stage is, as it's a much better way. As obviously you're more likely going to be trading the actual individual stocks. Obviously you could be trading the ETF, but obviously it's better to, in terms of actually doing the stage analysis, to look at what all the individual stocks are doing. So you can see here we've had what's that do from this week here to now? We've got 22 weeks there. Cup and handle pattern, so we had a 4 or 5 week handle within that. So it's been going for about 5 months now within the stage 1 base. Had a decent run up of the selling climax there to about 30+% into the cup and handle pattern. You don't often get a cup and handle pattern within stage 1. You tend to get a cup and handle pattern after stage 1. So you might have a stage 1 base, you might start to break out, and then higher up within we get the secondary patterns, when sometimes you then get a cup and handle pattern and move off. That's a more typical time to get the cup and handle. But within a stage 1 base, it's not so much of a regular occurrence, but that is looks like a decently valid cup and handle pattern at the moment. You can see relative strength is above the 0 line, which has just started to turn up as well itself, so showing outperformance versus the S&P 500. If we look at some of the individual stocks within the group, see DHI is the leading stock at the moment. I've talked about this before in previous videos. Had a stage 2 breakout 6 weeks ago now. Has been continuing to grind slowly higher here. So against obviously the market action, you can see relative strength has obviously been strongly outperforming the S&P 500 here. So if we look at that on a daily basis, you can see the prior base structure within here started to break out with a little bit of upthrust action within the range, then started to pop, and that's where we hit our stage 2 breakout. And since it's made a couple of continuation attempts, started to move on higher. So this continues to lead the home building stocks at the moment with some reasonable volume so far. The NAR was one of this week's stage 2 breakout attempts. As I said, there was about 6 or 7 within the group attempting to move into stage 2 this week. This was one of the more convincing, a little bit more volume than some of the others. So it's one of the large cap names of the group. You can see 19.855 million shares traded to hand there at 92.2 was the closing value in the week. So we've got a stage 2 breakout attempt, very similar to what we see with the group charts. Obviously the group charts are weighted more towards the large caps, with the Dow Jones groups here that we use for the in-stock charts. So at the moment, if you look at the daily here, you can see, where do I go? Back up here. So this was our stage 2 breakout attempt No, this is our stage 2 breakout attempt. I'm sorry, this was the breakout attempt within the base here. We've now attempted to move up and out, pull back in on Thursday and rebounded and consolidated on Friday. So it's a bit of not the strongest stage 2 breakout attempt. Obviously cleared some near-term levels within here, but obviously pull back into the backup range, started to come back out again. So it's an attempt, obviously, versus what's going on with the weakening market action on Thursday and Friday. So definitely showing some outperformance. And as you can see, since the start of November, it's definitely been outperforming there. TMHC, another one from the group that's attempting to move out into early stage 2 at the moment. You can see from the weekly chart down here, it's been about 3 weeks now. So it broke out 3 weeks ago into stage 2 back at this point here. So we quickly come across, it was around here, this kind of area, started to move out into stage 2. It's been chopping its way up above this rising 21-day moving average, consolidating above that 180R level for most of the way. So continuing to move higher slowly in early stage 2. You've got MTH also making a new stage 2 breakout attempt here. You can see if we go back across here, this week was its stage 2 breakout attempt. So here's your stage 2 breakout day. Obviously the market pulled back on that day, gap up on, was it Tuesday there? Reverse back up again on Thursday and consolidating on Friday, same as we saw with LEN there. So same with MVR, similar kind of pattern we're seeing across the group here. So we pull that across. We got 3 weeks ago, started to move up and out into early stage 2. So through this pivot, so that would be your stage 2 breakout day there, grinding higher above that 21-day moving average. LEGH, on the other hand, still would be considered in stage 1 here. You can see consolidating just under the stage 2 level. The 30-week moving average has started to turn up. Relative strength's got back above the 0 line there. So if we look on the daily chart here, you can see this is our level here at the moment, around the $19 level. So you'd want to see a strong move through that, with obviously more than what we look for in the stage analysis method on a daily breakout is around 3 times the average daily volume on a breakout for the higher quality breakouts. But any kind of increasing volume is obviously acceptable, but the more volume the better. And then by the end of the week we look for more than 2 times the average weekly volume. So CCS, again, another early stage 2 breakout attempt there. It's got some resistance on this one to push through still. So if we look at this from this line, it's not yet cleared some old resistance, but it has broken this level here. 30-week moving average is flattening out there. So potentially this one's moving into early stage 2 or testing the top of the stage 1 range, depending on what you're using there. But you obviously, if you draw your trend line across there, potentially this is your stage 2 level, as we don't necessarily use straight horizontal levels from across. It's more to do with the relative level compared to the 200-day moving average. So this one's still got resistance from this area to get through, but certainly testing the stage 2 level at least. PHM, this one has broken out into stage 2 here. You can see the first attempt failed there. Then it made another attempt this week and has pulled out and consolidated above the level there. Obviously still, again, not through old resistance. But this is your stage 2 breakout week here. So we've still got some old resistance to deal with on this one. So again, testing that stage 2 level, it would technically be in stage 2, but it's obviously needs to do a bit more convincing yet and continue to move higher in order to obviously solidify that. MHO also testing the level. It's not yet clear. It's made a few failed attempts to break out here and it's consolidating around that stage 2 level. And again, we've got some older resistance that it hasn't yet broken through. So again, I would class that as testing the stage 2 level. So either late stage 1 or early stage 2 testing. Toll Brothers also breaking out into early stage 2 here, as you can see, broken the pivot above that 200-day moving average and held it on Friday. Again, similar kind of action with old pivots that it hasn't yet got through. So multiple stocks here testing their stage 2 breakout level, but well above their 200-day moving averages in the near term here. KBH, a little bit less, so you can see that's still closed below, so we'd still have this one just in stage 1, failed stage 2 breakout attempt on Tuesday there. So it's still underneath this old resistance. So testing the top of the stage 1 base structure at the moment on that one.